follow all the procedures and
Yep.
show the negative test when we come home and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Because Canada seems a little more tentative about COVID. You know, I knew that they'd get people in the stands for the playoff stuff.
They found a way, didn't
Playoff
they?
hockey in Canada, thank God. Damn American
Exactly.
franchise with all your money.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't have such a repressive tax structure in Canada, better guys would play for the Canadian franchises.
Oh, I know all about the
I'm
taxes
just saying.
here. Yeah, it's rough. No
You know
doubt.
that those tax dollars go to, you know, arts and culture too. So they
Yeah.
underwrite all the festivals. So we really can't go either way on that, can we?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't tease you that badly, Jay.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're able to work, and any gigs of exciting import recently?
Man, I mean, we did a couple sold out shows in BC that were great, just outside of Vancouver, in a place called White Rock at the Blue Frog. I mean, we did the Cadillac Zach gigs in California, which were fun. Jimmy
Yep.
Vivino came out and sat in with
Oh,
us,
Jimmy.
and
Oh,
man, yeah, it's been incredible. In Austin, I ran into Gordy Johnson from Big Sugar,
nice.
Canadian guy, and Jimmy Vaughn invited me to lunch, which was like mind blowing. So
That's
that happened. Yeah,
He's a sweet guy. He's really great.
yeah, he really is. You know, I sent him a video from our sound check, and I just said some Jimmy Reed ... You know, and then
So,
the video is about 3 minutes long, and 3 minutes after I sent it, my phone rings, and I thought he actually pressed the button by accident, you know, on his
yeah.
iPhone or something. I picked it up. He's like, "How you doing, man? I'm not going to make it to your show tonight, but you know, come and see me tomorrow." And I said, "All right."
Sweet.
So yeah, pretty cool.
And Luann Barton's fabulous too. I always love seeing both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. She hasn't been singing with him as much lately.
No, I noticed that.
Yeah.
You know, they're not getting any younger. I don't know if she, you know, has any health issues or if it's just doesn't
Yeah.
want to get out there as much. You
Yeah.
can only be a road warrior for so long.
That's for sure. Yeah, man.
It's not easy. I mean, you're 10 years younger than I am, and which meant I saw Bobby Orr in his prime. Angie Lafleur. Angie Lafleur.
There you go.
Yep, yeah.
Nice.
But and Kenny Dryden. I was
Oh,
alive
wow.
for the 72 Summit Series on my
That's
daddy's
cool.
lap.
That's very cool.
Yeah, yeah. I probably didn't retain a lot in 72, but I've watched it enough.
There you go.
If you haven't watched it, it's Canadian history. You should go back and watch it.
Okay, I'll do that.
But anyway, you know, you got, I watched a few interviews to snoop on you before this, and you and I know a lot of the same people. I heard that Tommy Hambridge produced one of your records, and Tommy's originally from Boston, wrote all of Susan Tedeschi's hits. So
Yeah.
he should be sending her, like, you know, she should be sending him money.
Yeah.
But you know, Tom's great, you know, working with Buddy Guy, Skinner, Quinn Sullivan. Tell me,
Yeah.
how'd you get hooked up with Tom Hambridge?
I was in Memphis for the Blues Music Awards. I was hanging around the lobby in the hotel one night, and I remember sitting on the couch, and I saw Jeff Simon from Thorogood's band,
Yep.
and he comes up and he was like, "Hey man, I want you to meet Tom Hambridge," and I was like, "Okay, sure." And I had no idea who he was, and I was just like, "Okay." And he goes, "You two need to make a record together," and he like puts us together, and we shake hands, and you know, the whole thing, and then I was like, "Sure, man, sure." And I literally, I'd never heard of him. Like I was,
And
I
Hambridge
was
has got a
really,
queue that's so long, JW.
yeah,
That's amazing.
I know. And honestly, up until that point, I had never really thought about producers, to be honest. I had only thought about musicians. You know, if you asked me who Buddy Guy was, obviously I've seen him in all these many times and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't hip to the producers at that time. That was, you know, like, I mean, more than 10 years ago now. And anyway, so I looked him up and I saw his resume and I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So I sent him a message.
Overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Well, you know, the other part is he's such a songwriter. Like, I mean, people like Ryan Haynes just clamor, like, when can you squeeze me in to do some songwriting, or Buddy Guy, or I mean, like Skin Deep, I think Tom wrote.
Yeah.
That puts me in tears every time, man.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and the guy is incredible. So, I mean, I wrote to him, or I called him and said, "Hey man, you know, would you be interested in doing something?" And he said, "Absolutely. Let's do it." I was like, "All right." And And then as I got to know him, I realized he doesn't say yes to everybody because he
No.
can't. He
Yeah.
can't. He just can't do it. And I also witnessed firsthand him songwriting. You know, there were a couple lines, a couple verses I wanted some thoughts on, and he wrote a better verse within literally seconds. And I was like, what? How does your brain even work like that, man? It's
It just
incredible.
does. It just
Yeah.
does, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he started out in the Susan Tedeschi band, and Susan and I are just a few weeks apart in age. So as her career was kicking off in Boston, I was producing Holly Harris's show and handing Holly my friend Susan's record.
Yeah.
Play my friend Susan's record. And then I moved to
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, and I was at WYEP, and then I broke Susan in Pittsburgh, and she shortly then came around with Johnny Lang, and yeah, it was just great to be able to, you know, see Tom and Susan do great. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think he loves it down in Nashville too. Did you do the record in Nashville with his people, his studio?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my band at the time was on a couple tracks. One of them being Jamie Holmes, who I'm in a band with now called Horojo Trio, that
Yep.
won the International Blues Challenge. And yeah, we went down to Nashville, and he said, you know, I'll get my guys, you know, I'll get Reese. And I was like, Reese Winans? He's like,
Yes.
yeah, I'll get Reese. I was like, pardon me? Like, Reese Winans is gonna be on my record? What?
Right.
And yeah, man, it was incredible. You know, great lineup, great musicians. The whole vibe was awesome. And a lot of those tunes we didn't even rehearse. We just went into the studio with basic ideas, and
Yep.
out it came.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I assume Tom just fostered an atmosphere that it was organically birthed throughout the
Yeah.
sessions really well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good, man. Well, you know, the other stuff that I saw online, you're chatting about, you know, you kind of have a tendency for the West Coast swing thing, and it's something that I love. If it swings, it's good, right? I mean, and your crowds love to dance. And you know, you mentioned Junior Watson, amazing. You know, like and
Yeah.
you know, you don't overplay. You got great tone. You have great musicality. I mean, that's what I come away from listening to your stuff.
Oh, wow. Thank you very
You know,
much.
so how do you think you developed your style? And do you think you're already all the way there, or are you
No,
maturing? You're like always
I'm
a
not.
project, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely nowhere near where I would like to be, and where I know I will end up being. But yeah, you mentioned the West Coast guys. Yeah, for me, it really all started with BB King. You know, I saw him when I was 15 years old. I was playing drums at the time, and I switched to guitar, and was like, I want to do that, you know.
Right.
And so it was BB, and then, you know, back then it was like BB, and then the next second is Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know, that's what you discover, and then from there, it's up to you whether you stay there or you look back and see what did he do. And that's how I found out about Jimmy Vaughn, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, all that world of stuff. And then it was like, oh, who's Anson Funderburg? Okay, over there. And all the Texas guys. And then so it was really the Texas guys at first, other than BB and,
Yep.
you know, T-Bone, Albert King, the obvious stuff.
Right.
But then I heard about the West Coast players, you know, Kid Ramos, Little Charlie, Alex Schultz, Watson, you mentioned, you know, Rick Holmstrom, all these guys, you know, and then I totally got into that. And it, you know, that was a whole other mindset, a whole other way of playing, you know, backing up the harmonica, Hollywood Fats, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And what I liked about that was the influence of jazz, you know, especially Little Charlie playing the bebop lines and the horn lines and stuff like that. I just found that fascinating. So it just became part of the way I play, you know, even though I'm nothing like him as a player, but I certainly have tried in the past.
Keep trying, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he's got a couple of years on you.
He does. Yeah, and you know, one thing you say that, and it's funny you say that, because I remember seeing video of Little Charlie where Little Charlie and the Nightcats were already well established, you know, Alligator Records, selling lots of albums and touring the world. And Charlie was a great guitar player, but he was nothing in the 90s compared to what he became in the 2000s and the 2010s. Like, holy cow, he just got better and better and better. It was like, how many players can you say got better over time? You know, a lot of players just kind of do a thing and they stay at that thing, but
Right.
Charlie was just constantly improving.
Yeah, it's funny, when I interviewed Derek Trucks for the first time, he said something like, you can get to a certain plateau and fool like 95% of the people out there with, hey, you're a good guitar player, and just kind of flatline, as you say, you plateau.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can just continue to push yourself and be something extraordinary.
Yeah.
And of course, Derek is extraordinary. And
Oh yeah.
the great players do that,
Yeah.
and I sense that from you. You're up there. Actually, one of the most fun videos I saw is you and Chad Smith.
Oh
And
yeah.
I know Chad. He plays a lot with these rockers for recovery and stuff. And
Oh yeah.
there's
Okay.
a rehab in Boston, run by Woody Geisman, the drummer from the Del Fuegos. When he got off the road and got clean, he started helping his friends get clean. Before you know it, he's running a rehab, and now he's also got a sober women's house and a sober men's house.
Oh wow.
And once a year, he does a big super group with all his
Okay.
friends. So it's like Simon Kirk from Bad Company, Chad on drums. I helped him get Warren Haynes one year as a headliner, and Gary Hoey was the musical director. Teddy Zigzag from Guns N' Roses, Alice Cooper. I mean, the list
Yeah.
just goes. Kate Taylor, James Taylor's sister. And so
Wow.
we put on like these big shows every. Chuck Berry we hired one year, and Chuck
Crazy.
unfortunately was Chuck, but
I've
Chuck was Chuck. But I got to see
heard
Daryl
that
Davis
story
on
many
TV.
times.
Yeah, yep. Well, yeah, I won't. The man's dead, so he can't shank me. So we had a VIP reception before the show, and all the major donors were going to be there, and
Yeah.
of course they wanted to meet Chuck Berry, and so we invited him, and Chuck said, well, if you leave a sack of $10,000 in the green room, I'll do that. He says, because you're certainly going to make more than $10,000 if I go there and raise more money. And we were like, just eat the deli platter in the green room, buddy. You're out of
Yeah.
your gourd.
Yeah.
But, that was Chuck, God bless
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And, most of the old school guys are great. You mentioned Hubert, being on one of your records too. And Hubert and I were close, and he was so genteel and so great to young players. Can you tell me about how you met Hubert?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first time I saw him was in Australia at a festival. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I saw him play. And then the next time I saw him was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Okay. And we were opening for him. John Hammond was on the show that night. I remember that because I had dinner with him and his band. But anyway, I finished our set, and I'm only about 23 years old, maybe 24. I think 23 though.
Yeah.
Anyway, I finished the set. I pick up my amp and I start to walk off, and the next band's coming up. Whoever's backing Hubert, and the guitar player says, "Hey man, yeah, can you just leave that up there?" I said, "Oh no, this is my amp. This isn't like backline." And he's like, "No, leave it there. I want you to come and play with us." And I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah, just set it right beside Hubert, right in the middle." I said, "Okay." So I put it down, and this was BC Reed, a guy from out there, and I said, "So let me know when you want to come up." And he said, "No, just play the whole set." I said, "What?" Okay. And then I'm like,
the advance warning on what we're gonna do, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So then I stood right next to Hubert the whole time and played the whole set. And I remember there was one solo I played. It was only 24 bars long. I never did more than 24 next to those guys,
Sure.
And somewhere in there he turned around and went, "Yeah, man." And I was like, wow, that was the first huge compliment I got from one of the originators, and that was all I cared about was, being in with those guys.
He's always been so complimentary and encouraging to people.
Yeah.
In his entire life. It was funny. We were in Memphis in May, my ex-wife and I, and I'd known Hubert since I was in my early 20s, and I was probably in my early 40s at this time. And we just had free range going in and out of his trailer, known him for so long. And I went out to see Pine Top or something and bring him his cool 100s, which he always brought for. And my wife was in there chatting with Hubert. And she said, Hubert really said something so nice about you, Jim. Said that, he met you when you were about 20, and now that he's known you 20 years, you're still just the dopey, lovable kid that Always, it was great to spend time with and to talk with all day long. And he says, you just have never changed it. And he meant it in the best possible way. And I just started bawling, of course.
Yeah, man.
To have, like you said, one of these originators just compliment you. You're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
No, you can keep, yeah, well, if Sue Foley complimented me, maybe better, but in a different way. But, another guy, Fathead Newman, was another guy I got along with and you worked with. And I loved Fathead. He was kind of up north there, right? Near the border, just like Kim Wilson, you were working with a lot. He was in Michigan. So tell me how did you get together with those guys?
Well, the Kim story is a little longer, so I'll start with Fathead. But with Fathead, I had never met him before. I had never, really crossed paths with him. I literally just reached out to his management and said, hey, would he record with us? Yeah. And I wanted to record a Ray Charles song, which looking back was like, it took some balls to do that, and have Fathead on it. But anyway, I just asked, and and his price was way too reasonable. And I went down there to Woodstock, New York, and we went into a studio. And I'll never forget this session because it was with a sax player I was working with at the time, Brian Asselin. And we went in there, and Fathead, we were barely even set up and testing the audio, and Fathead had already recorded one pass through a song, and it was perfect. And it was like, okay, can we just do that one more time? He's like, yeah, sure. He didn't say much. He was a very quiet man. And then he just played it again. Again, it was perfect. Okay, we went to the next song. He played it. It was perfect. We were done in 23 minutes, it was like, nuts. What is happening? That everything he played was perfect. So what you hear on the record, if you can even find that record anymore,
first or second takes, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there were only 2 takes of anything. It was incredible. Yeah. So that was just a really cool experience. And then with Wilson, it was a whole different animal because I had run into him at a festival in Canada where were we? Windsor, I think it was. And I met him there. Previous to that, someone gave me his fax number. So I had sent him a fax to say, will you record with me? I was probably 19 writing this fax.
Hey, don't feel bad because Ronnie Earl still loves to communicate by fax.
Does he really? That's hilarious.
Anyway.
That's great.
We'll move on.
Yeah. Anyway, so I ended up getting Gene Taylor on my record, my second album, and he said yes, and Kim said no, and then Kim called me, a month later and said, hey man, I've been thinking about it, and I'd like to help you out. And I said, okay, well, what's it going to cost me? What do you charge? And he told me what he charged BB King and his day rate. And I was like, whoa. He goes, but I don't expect that from you. Just fly me up and cover my hotels. And if you can pay me, great. And if you can't, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, I just want to help you out, man. It's like, wow. Okay. I was 21 at the time, and here he is coming to Canada, staying here for days, recording with us and all that. And we played a couple shows together too. And then he ended up coming up every January for 3 years in a row. And we did 2 shows each time in Ottawa at the same club at the Rainbow Bistro. Mm-hmm. And then that was 2002, 2003, 2004. In 2004, we also played Toronto and Montreal. And man, what an experience. No set list. I just had to know where he was going to go and do my best to follow along,
Yeah, no, and I don't, you probably have the record, Big Jack's Memphis barbecue sessions with Kim.
Yeah.
Pine, and of course Willie Big Eye Smith was supposed to be on drums and he was late or something. So the record company owner, Mark Carpentieri, happened to be a drummer, and he just jumped behind the kit.
Oh, nice.
That was so stripped down, you could really hear the musicianship from both guys. And of course Pine still sounded like Pine, even though that was after he got hit by the train, I think, and all that. That was extraordinary how Pine still, the phrasing,
Oh yeah.
The speed and dexterity, obviously slowed down, but it was always Pine, no matter. you know?
Yeah, I had a chance to sit in with him one time in Memphis, and maybe there's a photo or a video somewhere, but I don't think I even have a photo of playing with him or seeing him. But we
Oh,
were on stage together, and it was. I just remember looking over, being like, "Whoa, I can't believe this is even happening.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
very cool."
Those
Yeah,
moments are
man.
fantastic. I'm glad you've had those, you know?
Yeah, and you mentioned Big Jack. We talked about it before the interview started, but I
Yeah,
was 15 years old playing drums 2 nights in a row, sitting in for like 3 songs or something.
yeah,
15 years old here in Ottawa playing drums with Big Jack Johnson and the Oilers. Like, what is this? Is just unbelievable. I've been very, very fortunate.
yeah, that's great. You know, it, it, you've definitely had the right influences, and you know, I enjoy your music immensely, and you know, people really ought to come out and see you. And I hear you're touring through the New England area soon.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So we're playing in Delaware, in St. George. Do you say St. George, or do you pronounce the S on that? You don't pronounce the S, right?
What?
On St.
St.
George,
St.
Delaware.
George is good. How do you want to
I
say
don't
it?
know. I feel like it's like St. George's or something, but there's an S in there. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah. No, I think you
good.
say St. George. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's on the 18th. That's Thursday. That one's sold out. And then Friday, we're at Boston Harbor Distillery, and that's the 19th. You can get tickets on my website, jw-jones.com. There's an Eventbrite link somewhere in there. You can find that.
I don't think that's generally a blues venue in there. It's just actually, it's in Dorchester, where a lot of my people are from, Dorchester and
Okay.
South Boston. That's where
Yeah.
the Irish people had to live when we came over on the boat. And yeah, it's actually in a nice spot near Marina Bay, where like a lot of the guys in the Red Sox and the Celtics live, in Marina Bay, across a river from where you're playing. And
Right.
I hear that club is really nice. So it's kind of an unexpected venue for the blues, but
Yeah, well, I mean, what they're doing right now is they're basically renting it out, so to speak. They don't charge a rental fee, but they're just trying to fill it. And if people can
yeah,
get in there and bring some people in, then it's a win-win for everybody. So
dynamite.
yeah, I hope that works out and people come out and see us. I know we're competing with Joe Bonamassa, who was playing somewhere on the other side of the state the same night, but that's not a good thing for us.
And I think he's way out in Northampton or something, pretty
Something
far
like
away.
that.
It's a totally different market.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. The following night, though, on the Saturday, not so much. We're at Chan's in Woonsocket. He's 25 minutes up the road in Providence. So
Yes. And you know, Chan's is great. You know, John wants to retire soon, John Chan, and I encourage everybody to get out there while they still can have Chinese food while hearing low down dirty blues.
yeah, man, it's my first time playing there. I've heard all about it and never played there.
It's quite the experience, and you know, everybody in blues and jazz has played the place at one point or another.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're slipping under the wire as John heads towards retirement.
Okay. Good.
So
Good.
that's good.
Yeah, man. So it's going to be a great weekend, though. I mean, like I said, we just did 5 weeks, and the band sounds unbelievable. Jacob Clark on bass, and he's playing upright bass too, and
Nice.
Will Lorraine on drums, who's been with me for 4 years, and the band just sounds amazing. We cover such so many bases. Like, we're playing some more traditional stuff and some more rocked up blues stuff, and everything in between. Original material, classic covers, everything. So we put on a great live show, and I really hope people come out and see it.
That's the best, when you get a band that can cover the whole breadth of the blues. And it was funny. I was actually taken aback. You were getting interviewed at the Big Blues Bender, and one of the last questions the gentleman asked you was your feelings about well, something. It was kind of a derogatory name about Joe Bonamassa being a blues rocker, or
Okay.
what camp you were in versus traditional blues. And
Yeah.
I think you gave a great answer, that it's a big tent. Everybody who plays quality music, you're interested in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know
I mean,
Joe. I love Joe. He's just a nice Italian kid who practiced his butt off up there in Utica, New York, which I used to always play hockey in Utica, New York too. And let me
back
tell
to
you,
hockey again.
back to hockey. But I've been there. There was nothing to do outdoors but get mugged in his neighborhood. So he probably was smart to stay in and play the guitar.
Oh, he's done. I mean, he's done an incredible job. I don't know him. I've never met him. I
Yeah.
think, we've shared a couple of messages on comments, on Instagram or something back and forth. But like, this is a guy that like has mastered the guitar. I mean, the way he plays, that guy doesn't make mistakes. I think about that and I go, wow, like his execution is absolutely incredible. Is he a traditional blues guy? No, absolutely not. But he's doing his own thing, and he sounds like Joe. I mean, he's as you can pick him out as easily as you could pick out BB King.
Yeah, he's identifiable, and that's
identifiable. That's the
yeah,
word. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so and it's wild, to go back to Junior Watson. He's identifiable as can be, but one time he's ripping off a Dick Dale tune and playing surf rock, and then he's playing a West Coast swing, and then he's playing Chicago blues.
Yep.
It's all Junior. You're like, it's all Junior, man.
Oh yeah. Within 3 notes, any of those guys, exactly who it is. Yeah.
So this was fun, JW, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Providence area there in Woonsocket. And I hope you stay safe out there on the road.
Thanks, man.
Is there any one last thing you want to tell my audience before we let you go?
Oh, wow. Well, I hope everyone just finds me online, jw-jones.com, join the email list, check out what we're doing. And, and on social media, JW Jones Blues. And man, just I hope everyone
I didn't ask you what your latest release is, JW. Tell me about
that's okay. Yeah, it's
your
called Sonic Departures. It's my 11th album. We released a live record a couple of years ago, and this is my 11th. I thought it would be cool to take the big band sound that we just did a couple of shows with the big band. And then the pandemic hit, and I was like, okay, wow, I've got these tracks, so maybe I'll make a little EP or something, put out 4 songs, throw it on the website. And then as we started mixing it, I was in my house, the producer was in his place across town, and I could see his screen, I could hear his professional audio from his system, the whole deal, and we were on the phone, so we could just work together all day. And as we started doing it, we were like, man, this sounds so good, let's just make a whole record here. And we had nothing else to do, so we did. We made the whole record, and did a bunch of vocal overdubs and a couple band overdubs and things. And man, it's a cool record. I'm really happy
awesome with it. Well, when you come to Connecticut, if you come to my house, we're gonna play lawn hockey.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm just teasing you, man. Nobody in America even knows what lawn hockey is.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
You gotta be Canadian.
All right.
All right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, brother.
Okay, take care.
Bye.